culture today takes for granted that once we're in our 80s, we turn stupid. Why would we look down on someone for parking in a handicapped parking space, needing a walker, or using a wheelchair to get around? Why do we not seek out our elders for their experience and their wisdom? On my way home from work, I would stop by a local care home to visit my father. He had Alzheimer's. He didn't even know who I was anymore, but we still talked. The place he lived was about 50 years old, smelled a little of Lysol, had very narrow, brightly lit hallways. My father's care was good, but this was still that place that none of us wants to end up. On my way out one evening, weaving around folks in wheelchairs, I found myself avoiding eye contact. It usually had been a long day. I didn't have time to start conversations with strangers. I'm about 20 feet from the door. Gentleman drops his pencil. I lean over, I scoop it up, and I go to hand it to him. Oh, we both knew in that instant. Gotcha. He introduced himself. My name's Barney. Good evening, Barney. My name's Tom. Barney's hair was scruffy, hadn't shaved in days. He wore a very colorful pajama top. Would you like to hear a joke? Sure, Barney. What you got? Barney scoots back in his wheelchair. It was as if he was coming alive. His jokes were absolutely fantastic. This guy had timing. He had delivery. I remember pulling a notepad out of my pocket thinking, I got to get this down. This is absolutely great. This guy is brilliant. Wow. There was a point around the fourth or fifth joke, I remember looking over his shoulder at a sea of people whose eyes seemed to be saying, please, would you come speak to me next? 10 minutes later, I'd wave goodnight, make my way out the door. On my way home, I couldn't get these folks out of my mind. They just seemed to be sitting there wasting away. It was as if we thought they were invisible. I couldn't help but wonder, what if all those people I had experienced in this evening, just like Barney, were brilliant? I would become curious. I began visiting elder care homes, one after another. I'd sit for hours on end with residents. I would ask, how does it feel to live in a care home? Do you have hopes? Do you have dreams? Do you have goals? One Sunday afternoon, as I was approaching a care home, I met Gertrude sitting out front on a bench. I introduced myself and sat down. She told me many interesting stories about her life, adventures she'd gone on with her family. Most of her family didn't live nearby except for her son. She wished he could visit more often, but he's very busy, you know. Gertrude points to a car across the parking lot. Tom, look at the red car. Look at how differently the sun shines on the hood than on the sides. I realized what she was pointing out was what you would need to be able to see to draw or paint this scene. Gertrude, you could draw that car. Oh, I prefer to paint. Paint? What do you paint today? I don't paint anymore at all. Gertrude, I'll get you an easel. I'll get you brushes. I'll get you anything you need. Tom, you don't understand. They don't let me paint here. The art room's very nice. They're afraid that I will spill and make a mess. Other things I was discovering. Folks were receiving 3, sometimes not so yummy, meals a day. The family almost never visited as much as the elders would like. There was recreational time, all the books and bingo and puzzles you could ever want. In most cases, residents were now on management's schedule, not so much their own. There was usually a workout room where elders could exercise. Local pastors would stop by to help with their spiritual walk. It was a given usually around 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the evening, you needed to be in your room, lights out. Have I just described to you life in a care home or life in a prison? How could it be that the two are so much alike? All of us have heard our elders say, "You're never going to put me in one of those places." Our team would start to ask, what if? What if we created an elder care home that looked just like a river lodge? Lots of warm and earthy colors. What if the entrance was so unique, your first impression as you walked in the door was, wow, I wish I lived here? What if we created a play area for the grandchildren that was so much fun? When it's time to go home, they cry and they beg, "No, please, please, I want to stay here at Grandma's." Do you remember Gertrude's son? What if the lodge was the only place that the entire family wanted to gather on a Friday night because the surf and turf at the lodge was better than they could get at any restaurant in town? And the art room, what if we just stained the concrete floor and threw colored paint all over it so if Gertrude spills, it only looks better? Our attention would now turn to our culture. The driver of the culture, all elders are brilliant. What if we didn't think about the lodge being an old folks' home at all? What if we all thought that it was the place that the entire community needed to gather to experience the wisdom and the gifts of our elders? Mary would be one of the first to move into the lodge. I knew that she had been an editor for a newspaper. I asked if she would consider creating a lodge newsletter. "Of course, Tom. I would be absolutely pleased to do that. Just get me a typewriter." "Mary, I don't have a typewriter. I'll get you a computer." "A computer? I am 84 years old. I have never even touched a computer. Would you give it a try if I got you some help?" A week later, Mary pulls me aside in the hallway. "Tom, this computer thing, wow, it's unbelievable. That thing does everything. And there's these boxes on the screen, and if you hit the box that's kind of up and to the right, it shows you how to spell all the words right." Mary would quickly transform this from a newsletter to a newspaper. She's recruiting friends all over the lodge. She's getting reporters. She's getting photographers. Let's do a joke section. Oh, Sue and Joe. Oh, they know everything that goes on around here. They could do the gossip section. Yeah. Oh, this newspaper was a lot of fun, right up until they created the opinion section. Wow. Right there on page 2. Did anybody try last Tuesday night's pumpkin pie? It tasted just like cardboard. Staff went crazy. Oh my gosh, this is our reputation they're messing with now. Maybe we need to get rid of this paper. Maybe we need to edit it. This can't happen. We eventually decided to do nothing. This would be their voice. We will not edit. One evening, while going by the living room, I heard that ever so familiar tinkering on the piano. Weeks before, we had asked some local piano teachers if they'd consider teaching children at the lodge. I peeked my head in. There was a 7-year-old little girl sitting there on the piano bench. Next to her was Barbara, one of the lodge residents. I noticed Barbara's daughter off to the side. She's sitting on the couch. I went over and I sat down. We spoke for a little while. I eventually asked, "How old's Barbara?" "Oh, my mom, she's 92. "Wow. We so much enjoy her here at the lodge. and to see her teaching this 7-year-old piano. She turned away for just a second. She wiped a tear from her eye and she said, Tom, you don't understand what you're seeing here at all. The 7-year-old little girl's teaching my mom. It's been my mom's lifelong dream to learn to play the piano. Our team, our residents, our community, we were all learning together that life gets better for all of us if we will choose to change our perspective. Barbara, Barney, Mary, they already understood that we can change the culture of how you and I value our elders with a single belief. All elders are brilliant.